Welcome to Fantasy Island. Oops. What? No. Welcome to another episode of Seaview Circle, our recap podcast where we review our favorite television shows and movies of the past, present, and possibly the future. And we do this all in service to our end goal of determining just how highbrow or lowbrow our viewing taste is.
My name is Brady. This is Doug. If you're just joining us, we are currently covering season 2 of Knots Landing, which is the longest running nighttime serial of its era. It is currently available to stream on Plex.tv and possibly some other streaming services as well. We have kind of been doing things a little bit differently in our coverage of season 2. We've been focusing on specific characters. So we've already done a podcast on Abby. We've already done a podcast on Kenny and Ginger. And last week, our podcast focused on Karen and her relationship with her 3 children.
Now, before we get into today's content, we have some reminders. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Tap that little bell there for notifications of when our next episode drops. We're really hoping to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Super easy. You just tap. Free way to support us and get the channel more recognition.
Yes. And if you would like to message us, you can send us an email at seaviewcircle@gmail.com. That is SEE viewcircle@gmail.com. And you may also contact us or leave a comment on our social media, either on TikTok, Blue Sky, or Instagram. In fact, it is from social media where this week's letter from the SAC originates. Doug, would you care to read this
Sure. So this is a message from Knots Landing Forever on Instagram, and it's in reference to a poll that we did recently for season 2. I think Ginger's storyline very slowly improved, but I think the writers did her dirty by having her go back to Kenny. But then it seemed like women just took men back in the early 80s. I mean, Laura could see that Richard was cheating on her with Abby. He didn't hide it. And Gary was copping off with Judy Trent.
That is true.
This is true.
That is true. We really look forward to covering Val and Gary's storyline in an upcoming podcast. And speaking of Laura, we were actually intending this week's podcast to be the sort of deep dive on Richard and Laura's storyline in season 2. But instead, we have a very special bonus episode that we are going to throw in ahead of that particular episode, because today we have an interview with one of Knots Landing's more memorable cast members from the early years of the series. You may know today's very special guest as Diana Fairgate, the irrepressible and some might say precocious daughter of Karen from Knots Landing. But of course, in her journey since that show, she has emerged as a quintuple threat in the entertainment biz, racking up credits as an actor, a writer, a producer, a director, and even a stand-up comic. She has created and written for the comedy series Accidentally on Purpose, starring Jenna Elfman, How to Live with Your Parents for the Rest of Your Life for ABC, Good Girls Don't for the Oxygen Network, and Rude Awakening, which ran for 3 seasons on Showtime. Now, her current project is Dead, a feature-length film that she directed and appears in alongside members from her very own family. So please welcome to Seaview Circle, the one and only Claudia Lonow.
Hi, you guys.
Hi
Lovely
there.
to be
Hello.
here. Love
Thank
your
you for
wallpaper.
having us. Oh, this is
This is a sheet, but don't tell anybody.
our DJ equipment is hiding behind there, but we have to use this multi-use in this room here.
So creative.
Yeah.
So we wanted to thank you so much for joining us. We know that you are super busy right now because you have a brand new movie coming out any day now. Can you tell us a little bit about how you and your family have brought Dead to life?
Okay, I will. So my daughter wrote the movie Dead, and it is based on an idea I had for a TV show that was based on her father dying, because that's how I deal with things. As I go, oh, this is a great scene. We're in the hospital and this happened, and other people are grieving and crying, and I'm writing things in my head. But I didn't get a chance to pitch that. And then during the writer's strike, my daughter Izzy asked me if she could write it as a feature. Of course, in my TV pitch, the mom character is the lead, because that's how I, roll. But in her pitch and movie, she is the lead, and I'm a side character, which I feel is better for me anyway. And then during the writer's strike, we started really getting serious about doing it. And then we both read this Robert Rodriguez book about making your own movies with things that you have available. And what we have available is a show business family. So we put it together. And my daughter is internet famous. And I guess, I don't know, does that mean regular famous now? But her fans really contributed to this Kickstarter campaign that we did to raise money for Post. And now our release is like driven by fans contacting their local indie theaters. And we're like in, I don't know, 60 theaters.
It's amazing.
I mean,
and it's happened so
crazy.
quickly, right?
Yeah.
It's built upon so quickly,
yeah.
this screening schedule. We're excited to see it actually this Thursday. We'll be at the
Yay!
screening in NoHo. So
Yes,
looking forward to
Yeah,
that.
and I noticed
Fine.
that it keeps getting added too, which is like it seems like there's more screenings being added even as
Are
we
you going to
speak.
the UK as well, right?
I'm going to the UK. I'm going to the UK and Amsterdam.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
there may be Germany. Now, I don't know, I feel from the Instagram account that is Unter de Sun, California or something, that Diana was very popular in Germany. So I always like, wanted to go meet the people that
That's
this
awesome.
character was very popular with.
That's
So
awesome.
I would love that. The other place is, we're not going there, but Paris. That's the last time I was recognized, was in Paris,
Wow. Well, you know,
like 20 years ago.
it's a huge, Knots Landing is huge over there as well.
I know.
Yeah.
I was doing something for the third season of Rude Awakening, was premiering in Paris. So this TV company flew me out there to interview me in all these different places. That was really fun. I was like, yeah, sure. And part of it was because Knots Landing is so popular there, and we were shooting, in a bar. And I walked in, and this woman looked at me like she had seen a ghost. And, it was like blowing her mind. And she's like, "Coast West, Coast
Yeah,
West."
Coast
And I'm like,
West.
"Coast West, Coast West, honey."
Yeah,
We're actually planning
episode
Yeah,
about Coat West. In fact, we have a little secret surprise here that
Oh,
we're
wow.
gonna unwrap later. Not in this podcast, but
Okay,
when we get
okay.
to another podcast, little special Coat West moment there. But so now, tell us.
Fantastic.
Speaking of ghosts,
Yes.
let's talk about what it is like playing sort of like the Karen role to your own daughter on film.
Oh my God. It was so great. I know. I'm playing the mother of the daughter whose father is dying. And there's a shot where we're outside the door. And so I was hunting online for the shot where me and Michelle Lee are outside of Sid's door. And I'm saying, totally different story. You gotta let me see him, because what I'm imagining is so much worse than yada, yada, yada. But I thought, wow, the worm has turned.
yeah.
So now, who else is in the cast? Who else participated in your
Okay, so my
all-star comedy
daughter,
family? I must say.
yes, thank you. My daughter, Isabella Roland, her husband, Brennan Lee Mulligan, he's very famous online. I don't know if you guys watch Dropout. I don't know what the crossover between Knots Landing and Dungeons and Dragons and Dropout is, but
That's how we feel when we cover our other shows like Yellow Jackets. What's the crossover of Knots Landing and Yellow Jackets? Haven't quite figured it out yet.
I think you and me. That's my feeling. Okay, so my son-in-law, Brennan Lee Mulligan, my partner, boyfriend, fiance, Jonathan Schmock, who you might recognize from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Mhm.
My parents, Mark Lonow, Joanne Astro, Eddie Pepitone. He's a very good friend. He's a great comic. And Craig Bierko.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, and Vic
Amazing.
Michaelis, who is also huge on Dropout and internet famous. Zach Oyama. Boy, I hope I didn't forget anybody.
I mean, that's quite a cast. I mean, we can just tell already it's going to be a really fun watch. So we're really looking forward to it.
Thank you. I mean, I hope so. It seems like it.
I'd be curious to know too, just from what I was seeing on the trailer, though, I assume because this is kind of like a labor of love and done within the family, were you able to use locations of people that you knew too, or did you have to
Not just that. I mean, we shot in my townhouse, in Jonathan's house, and my parents' house. And then we used one, like the low rent, like the kind of place you can get in North Hollywood that you imagine pornos are shot in, but they
Yeah.
had a hospital set. I don't know what that porno looks like, but and an office set. So we shot there one day. It was just like that.
I just think it's something that you should all be very proud of, to actually be able to finish a project with members of your family. I can't even
Yeah, we're
imagine
saying, what about just staying in
getting through one day.
getting through a holiday with your family?
You're right to have those feelings. Now, I grew up in it. You know, my stepfather's one of the owners of the Improv. My mother was a comic. My parents used to rehearse their improv stuff in our one-bedroom apartment. And I've been calling out suggestions for occupation since I was 5. So I'm used to that. And I guess Izzy, my daughter, is sort of kind of used to it through osmosis, you know, and me and my boyfriend, you know, he helps me on everything. We've worked together before. He was on the, you know, staff of 2 of my shows, and he directed an episode of Rude Awakening. So
Oh, okay.
I'm used to that. That's like, you know, it's not always entirely comfortable to be bossing your parents around and bossing your boyfriend around, as charming as you can be, and then have my daughter bossing me around and me go, oh, you know, I don't love this. You know what? Wow. Wonder how my mom felt when I criticized her headshots.
That's great.
Probably didn't love it.
Yeah.
Well, of course, you also have another famous mother-daughter relationship from a show many, many years ago. We are currently working on season 2 of Knots Landing, covering, well, this season we're doing it character by character. So we just had
Oh, I
our
love
episode
that. That's
last
cool.
week, which was all about Karen and her relationship to her children. And of course, you have a really great featured episode in that particular season. But before we get to that, let's rewind even back a little bit further to 1979 and your casting on the show and kind of how that all came about, and what was the breakdown of that character when you first saw it?
Well, listen, that was a while ago, and I don't remember the breakdown, but I will say that I started auditioning basically because my stepfather's agents came over for dinner, and I was already very show businessy. Did you guys ever see the movie Camp about
N-
State Shore Manor? Well,
no, no,
first of all,
no.
you should watch it.
Okay.
It's a great movie my friend made. He and I went to this camp. This is like, you know, Natalie Portman, maybe Zach Braff went to the camp.
Okay.
You can see tape online of Zach Braff in a musical from Stage Door Manor. It's a
Okay.
famous theater camp. So I was already like that. And we moved out here from New York, which I was not happy about for my stepfather's career. His agent came over and I sang a song on my guitar that I had written, which was my song that got me through everything in my life. Can I curse?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
It's called,
We like it.
Okay, it was called Fuck the World.
You're right. Okay. Sure. Sure.
So, you know, it's a big joke. It
Yeah.
gets a lot of laughs. And they said, can we send her out on things? And they went, sure. And we thought, you know, probably won't get anything, but it's good experience. And for whatever reason, I just did very good at this. I don't know. I had big balls and I just kind of, I don't know why. And the week that I got my first job, which was playing, it was a big part on Mary Tyler Moore's sitcom / variety show. It was like Larry Sanders with a variety show. It was only 13 episodes, but it was an hour. And I played her goddaughter who ran away from home to become a big star, like her Aunt Mary. Okay. And it was like legit. I had to do a fucking soliloquy from Romeo and Juliet
Oh my. Okay.
in the episode. Michael Keaton was in that. You can find it online, I think. The week I did that, I auditioned for Knots Landing.
Wow.
And so I was, you know, feeling good. And I got a call back. The casting directors knew my stepfather. And that's why I was using the name Lonow, because, you know, my real last name is Rappaport, but I thought people know him and it's a distinctive name. It's not like they're going to mix me up. And so they were trying to like me because they liked my stepfather. And then I read with, Steve for the part in David Jacobs' office. And we both got the job. I mean, there was no going to the network back then. I don't know why David, maybe no one did that. I have no idea. And then we're like shooting this pilot, you know? It was crazy. I mean, it was so crazy because I was in high school, and I had just moved out here. And I think even when I watched the show back, I go, I have like a New York accent. I mean, even
yeah.
though
We always were wondering where that was coming from as we're watching. But for some reason, it always felt like the Karen character and all of everybody felt like they were East Coasters. So it
well,
seemed
she did, not Don Murray. But
Yeah.
I always thought to myself, and David Jacobs said to me that Michelle's character was secretly Jewish. Not secretly in her life, but that you didn't say that back then. So it was like, I guess you would say coded Jewish.
right,
And I went,
right.
oh, really? And he said, yeah, well, her maiden name is Cooper. And I didn't know that that's coded Jewish last name, but I'm Jewish and I'm from New York. And so I think that was just, and my accent's way worse now than it was when I was acting. But even I'm like going, that's crazy. I mean, you're supposed to be from California. I mean, you live in a beach community and you talk like, really
I just,
snotty.
Well, maybe you spent your summers on the
Yeah,
East Coast or
something
something,
Yes,
else.
with Karen's family.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Now, even in that first season, I feel like they gave you quite a few really good moments to shine. There were a lot of times where I felt like the Diana character was used sort of like to educate the audience on maybe some of like the headier topics that would come up more broadly on the show, like when
Yes.
Laura was attacked, or these little moments. They would always be moments, usually with you and Michelle Lee, or sometimes
Yes.
Don Murray as well. Also to then show their character and how they reacted to their children. So,
Yes.
what did you feel about that in that first season where you didn't really have like a full story? I think until maybe towards the end, where you had the boyfriend who stole money from Sid.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Terry, is that his name? Terry?
Yeah, we'll talk
Yeah.
about him
Wow.
later.
Boy, I don't know. I think probably because of my background and my family and my parents being actors, I probably was more competitive about what I should be doing than I have a right to be, considering this is my second job and the show is about grown-ups,
But you
not
also had the talent that we note
oh,
comes
thank
through
you.
in every scene.
Well,
There's
that's
also
sweet.
an element where there is an underlining kind of comedy to it, which I'm sure comes from
Yes.
your background. We noted when we were covering season one, when we would do like, what was the best line of the episode? What was the best line of the episode? It was usually always your character or John Plechette's character that had the best lines every
Oh, that's
time.
okay.
And for us, I think that the first episode where we were rewatching it for like the third time, but more critically,
Mhm.
was The Land of the Free. And that's the episode where you sort of, the character exposes that she has an interest in the dramatic arts. And so I was wondering how much of yourself was able to be, influence that character in those early years.
I thought of myself as sort of in between Pat and Steve and the grown-ups because they were these two younger kids and I grew up with my parents. So all of these people were sort of like my parents and their friends. And that's who I liked. I didn't like people my own age as much because of whatever. And I did talk to David Jacobs, the creator, about my character in a probably oddly surprising grown-up way about what I thought and yada yada yada. And I think now that I've been a showrunner and a creator, you start to pick up things about your actors because you're seeing their face all the time. You're seeing the dailies. I mean, I'm not, but they are. And you notice little quirks they have or things that they're good at, or, oh, Claudia's in a musical. I guess she can sing, so I was stayed in high school. So I'd be like, I'm in Hello Dolly, And like, I have to get out because we have the drama festival. And so they knew all of that about me, but it was never like directly, you should put this in about me, except, well, honestly, about that episode with the put on a happy face where Diana loses her virginity. I think me and my stepfather wrote a spec episode.
Oh,
And I
okay.
gave it to David, like, because John Flechette had done it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know what I was thinking, but it was like, well, I can write an episode too. It's like, you are in high
That's amazing.
school.
That's great.
You have the talent, though. You have that in you, and you want to be able to show it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all.
No, 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 it's not
Yeah.
wrong. It's just in retrospect pretty funny, to think that, I mean, like, well, David and I need to have a lunch so I can discuss my character,
Well, I've
and
heard
maybe
that
I'll
though
go,
from interviews I've heard with Michelle Lee
oh yeah,
they all
but
did
she's
that.
a contemporary of David Jacobs. She's a Broadway star,
But you are also a fellow actor that is contributing to the show, I think,
That's
in
true. That's
special
true.
ways.
I,
Yeah.
I I did. So I think he probably just gleaned, and he liked the sort of back and forth between me and Michelle, and so did she. And my character was also a foil. Like, it's like, you're a problem. I'm a problem for them to solve. So it spurs story for them. That would be like how I tell myself.
Can you tell us a little bit more about working with Michelle Lee and all those fantastic scenes and what your relationship was like in those early years of your acting career?
Well, like I said, I was a very show business child. So I knew everything about both Michelle and Don and everybody in the show. And also, weirdly, I don't know if you know this, but Constance McCashin had been in my parents' improv group when we lived in New York
Oh, I didn't know
years
that.
before. I already knew her. So I knew, oh, right before we did Knots Landing, Michelle had been in this TV movie about, I think, Abbott and Costello. I don't know if you know that. I knew everything about her.
Okay.
So I was a little probably overwhelmed and want to do a good job. I had no idea what anything was. So I was just really like picking up what happens, because I had one other professional experience, which was a sitcom, which was totally different. It wasn't on film. I mean, it was in front of, it was really different. And I remember when we were sitting around the table, the dinner scene with, Val and Gary, and I guess Karen Allen is there too. And also, by the way, I had seen Animal House, so I knew. I mean, I'd seen it a lot, so I knew who Karen Allen was, and that was like, oh my God, she's like a movie star is in this fucking show. And but we're eating dinner, and I learned while we're doing that people don't really eat the food, they spit it out.
Right.
So that was that. And I just really just watched what Michelle was doing. And one of the things that she was really good about, and we were all aware of, is trying to make the stuff we're doing in the house feel real. So, those props in the kitchen and the water and the chopping of the vegetables and the getting stuff from the refrigerator, all of that was to make it feel like you're really seeing a real family. And everybody on the show, we weren't successful right away. So, people were really working hard and just trying to invest themselves in this show to make it as good as it could possibly be.
Was there a feeling on set that it had to match Dallas's numbers because it was a spinoff?
Well, there was a feeling on set that it wasn't, which I'm sure if you're a fan of the show, that it changed to be more serialized. It wasn't serialized at the beginning. And in fact, our creators were inspired by the show Family. And I think that's one of the reasons why I was cast, was because I was the Christy McNichol ish. Not exactly, though I will say I went up for a lot of TV movie roles that went to Christy McNichol that I didn't get, but it's like, well, Christy McNichol is doing it. And I'm like, okay,
I
well, that
guess
makes
she's
sense.
probably about the same. You guys were probably about the same age at the time
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So,
yeah. Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm more boobalicious than she was, but she had, she looked like a tomboy, but and she played a character named Buddy on Family.
I did watch some of that. I kind of remember watching a little bit of it. I don't know if I watched. I didn't watch Knots Landing till much later. So
Oh, you're probably
I
too young.
yeah. Well, no, I'm actually of the age, but I don't know
He's
what I was
Okay.
he's
doing.
he's the same age as Pat
I'm
Peterson
the same
or
age as Pat
Michael.
Peterson, maybe a
Okay.
little
Well,
bit
you
younger.
wouldn't have watched it when you were
I
Pat's
would have
age.
been the same age as Brian
Yeah,
Cunningham.
but you know what? My
Okay.
sister did watch it.
Oh,
So my
yeah.
sister's probably like maybe around your age. So just a few
We don't
years.
need to say what that age
Yeah,
is.
I'm not saying 20, 25.
Sure.
No, but I would say to you, I always felt like when I watched your character in the show, I always felt that you seemed older than what your true age was. I mean, your confidence and the
Yeah.
character always came off much more adult, you know?
The character had a very different childhood than I did. I mean, I grew up in New York City. I was a latchkey kid. My parents were struggling actors, and I was walking around Manhattan by myself. I mean, I could get myself out of a situation. Diana grew up in a nice suburban area with a mother who didn't work. My mom
Yeah.
was, working. So I think obviously I came off that way, and I must have, because I just also was in this situation with all of these adults and really not knowing what is happening. Not my parents didn't either, because it was so crazy, that I was just like pretending I knew what I was doing right away, just watching other people,
And
go stand on your mark and all of this stuff.
I think you did an incredible job figuring that
Thank
out
you.
because
Thank you.
it
Thank you.
doesn't come across that way. It comes across that you are absolutely one of the players in this ensemble, right from the get-go. And I think, moving into
Thanks.
to the season two,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have this featured episode that is really great. But even before that, in the season opener, which is that whole saga with
Oh,
Sid
yeah.
having that
Sid.
issue, uh, but that moment where your musical performance is edited to him being arrested, it's this really cool device that they used. But you're
Yeah.
featured in that, doing this musical performance, which is just like, wow, that's like the first 10 minutes of season two. So we wanted to ask you specifically about those musical performances, how they were conceived. Were they in the script? How long did
Yeah,
it take to?
they were in the script, though I will say I don't remember as much rehearsal for the If They Could See Me Now number as with Put on a Happy Face, which was like, this is a whole nother level of shit here. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even remember I think I just sang the song, If They Could See Me Now, on stage. The thing with Michelle, I was lip syncing, which I'd
Right.
never done that before. We recorded it in a studio. There was a choreographer, and it's like, wow, I'm doing a song and dance number with like a Broadway person, like a real person who does this shit. And I'm just like,
You,
I hope I can do okay. It's a
hey,
lot more dancing than I'm really good at,
Oh, you
honestly.
pulled it
yeah,
off. You pulled
I
it off.
mean, I was like, wow. What was weird was though, when I looked at it again and I was seeing, that performance and before you went on stage and Michelle's talking to you, you were giving me like Fanny Bryce, funny girl vibe. Like, I don't know what they did, like
Was
That
that
with the hair and
was
the
that intentional?
makeup.
Was that intentional?
No, I think
Really?
Well,
they
it's
just
just funny.
I mean, Michelle at that time had this kind of updo thing that she
We
did a
called it's the
lot.
Gibson girl.
The
It's the
Gibson
Gibson
girl,
girl.
we call
Oh,
it.
okay, yeah,
Well,
she
wait,
really.
maybe it's not the Gibson girl, but we call it the Gibson girl.
Yeah.
I can see why you do that, but it was like a specific thing that she just did. So I think I was matching that hairdo with my curly hair, which, technology to straighten your hair was not like a big thing that was on set. I never had straight hair on a set until I did, what show was it? Oh, Hotel. That was the first time. I mean, Aaron Spelling was like, no, you can't go on camera with this hair. So the guy meticulously straightened my hair with a curling iron. And I went, wow, this looks unbelievable. I look like a movie star. As you can see, I never got over it. But so we had the updo. That's why I think I was just matching her look.
Tell us about that scene in the dressing room. It's really a fantastic scene.
Well, when we got the script for that scene, Michelle did not think it sounded natural or exactly or good. Not to put anybody down, but she didn't think it sounded like us or it didn't have as much of a natural feel. So I went over to her house, which I think maybe it was the first time I was ever at her house. And first, I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment with my parents. My parents slept on the living room floor when I was on the show. And so, I didn't really know. I mean, and I went to Beverly Hills, so I knew people with nice houses, but I never really went to like like even a TV star's house. And I mean, it was really like, to me, I can't believe this. I mean, it wasn't that special, but it was to me. There was still like a huge picture of her, which is funny. And we sat in her office room or something, being served some coffee or something by a person, and rewrote that scene together. We sort of improvised the scene. And then Michelle gave it to the writers, and that's what we did. And that really was inspiring in terms of, boy, they really care about our contribution to the show in a way that I think is unusual. I wouldn't love it. I'm sure on a comedy that like doesn't have, it's not the same. But I think when you're, on an hour long and you're creating a character, also back then we're done like doing 24, 22 episodes. It's not like now. So you're on that thing for like a large chunk of the year. And it was just great. I mean,
and I think that kind of attention to detail or that level of collaboration is what made the shows so successful. And in my opinion, the highest quality of any of those shows in terms of being relatable. And I think that's why it kind of stayed on for so long, because it stayed true to these characters, no matter who they were.
I think so. As I said, we were, even at that point in that second season, we didn't know if we were coming back, in the third season.
Sure.
And, we would be looking at the ratings and everything to see, well, how do we do, how's it looking? And we were okay. So it really was this feeling of, we just got to, focus on making a show. And I mean, just for Michelle, it was just really generous for her to, I mean, like I said, I was in high school. So.
I know. It's hard to like, I mean, we keep reframing that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually shocked that you were still going to I kind of assumed that maybe you were in high
went
school.
To studio school.
And then went to studio school for a while or something. But I mean, to be juggling all
that's hard. That
seems like a lot.
I don't honestly know how I did it. I mean, when I think back, I go, yeah, did I do that? There was a period where, I was like Tracy Flick of high school. I think at Beverly, at the drama department, there were other people who had been child actors who had gone to the school. Not when I was going, but there was one guy in particular, and I can't remember his name. So that's how well he turned out.
Yeah.
But Clark. Maybe it's Clark something. Clark. Anyway, so it wasn't like unprecedented. And it's not like a sitcom or a small cast. So I'm not working on this show every day. And it took 7 days to shoot, and we would start shooting in like August. So it's not like the whole thing. However, so senior year of high school, they have this thing in California and maybe other places, the drama festival. Do you know anything about this?
I
Okay.
don't know. I mean, I went to Chatsworth High
I was in,
School, so
Oh,
he went to
yeah.
well,
a high
then you
school
should
with a lot of
know.
actors.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Okay.
I had a few child actors in my school while I was going there, and then they had like Val Kilmer had gone there,
Oh,
and like
wow.
so. I
Okay.
think they had a very good drama department. And they had a lot of people who went to that school just for that. If
Yeah,
you lived
yeah.
in the
Well, back
valley,
then, before Prop 13 really kicked,
yeah,
it was very competitive.
yeah.
So there was the drama festival, and the prior year, I hadn't been allowed to be in it because I was a sophomore. This was before Knots Landing, and our school won the Shakespeare Festival, and then you perform it at the end, and they got a standing ovation. And I had been a timer. I was costumes. I'm going to do makeup for the thing. I'm going to because they won't let me in, yada yada, and I'm just gonna be, I was like a lunatic. And so when we got to senior year, it's like I'm gonna put together a thing myself for the drama festival and present it to the guy, and anyway, that happened. By this time, I'm on television, so it's not so hard, and I've already been in some things. So I presented my cutting of the Me Nobody Knows, and that I put together. They had done it at camp. So I was using my memory of camp, and I cast it, and then I directed it with
Wow.
one of the other drama teachers. I was like, I mean, I don't even know how to describe the level of craziness that I exhibited to the
Well, that
cast.
certainly would probably, though, all that activity prepares you for the career that you've had, though, right?
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm getting to the joke. So I'm like, we have to rehearse it again. And one of the guys goes, Claudia, we have homework. And I said, I have homework, and I have this, and I have a job.
Oh,
So
geez.
don't you tell me I have a job. You know, what are you doing on the weekend? I mean, what do you do when you're not at school? I'm
Right.
at work.
Right.
So anyway, we won and we got a standing ovation.
That's
It's like
fantastic.
the highlight of my entire life.
That's awesome.
Beyond anything. I didn't give a shit about it. I was more invested in winning this competition.
That's awesome.
It was like,
accomplished
I
it.
had peers. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Now, you had mentioned that you weren't really
Yes.
sure if Not Something was going to continue. There was this
Yeah.
this talk. We had a question when we were covering last week's episode in reference to Don Murray's character.
Yeah.
Do you know when he kind of made that decision to leave the show? Was it while you were
In
filming
between.
season 2? It was. Okay. So it was
It
kind
was
of written as
it,
an possible out.
Don lived in Santa Barbara. I think he drove in to do the show, and he was just like, fuck it. I mean, it wasn't like they didn't want to get rid of him. I think he
Yeah.
just didn't want to do it anymore. So that was crazy. But also, it was the first time I think a major character died on a show, not like a guest star. So it really did ratchet up everything on the show. And that's when
I,
we started taking off.
And it probably influenced even other shows as well that were your
Yeah.
contemporaries that did things that were like, oh, let's have a plane crash where
Yeah.
half the people can die. Let's have an earthquake where half the
Yeah.
people can possibly die. We just watched some of those episodes or just your scenes really. And the moment of you just breaking into Itsy Bitsy Spider
Oh,
at his
did you
bedside
like that?
is, oh, it's so touching.
That's so sweet. I have to tell you, I think that the first time I watched that, or I watched it with my friends, and we might have been stoned. When I went into Oh the Itsy, I started laughing because it sounded like I was going to go itsy bitsy. It was like so crazy. But when I was doing it, I couldn't have been more serious. I mean, I thought it was like obviously going to win an Emmy for this shit. I mean, I was like so serious. Sometimes when I would watch it back, I would be like surprised by things about myself, that I didn't think were fantastic and that you can't really control. For instance, like you can't control the face you make when you cry, whether it's attractive or not. And sometimes I was like, I wish I looked better when I cried. I really make a weird face. But that one, not to rain on anybody's parade who was very much affected, but at that time, I was like, I don't know. I was stoned when I watched.
That's okay. Oh, listen, don't watch anything when you're stoned.
Yeah.
Like, especially yourself. I try not to.
So, Claudia, we're going to show you now in the chat.
Okay.
We're going to show you a photo. And this is now, obviously, after Sid passes, your character goes through some changes. There's a lot of upheaval in the family. We're not going to cover that right now because we haven't gone through our season 3 episodes. But what I'm going to ask you is, out of the following people, which of these gentlemen do you think that Diana would have been best off with?
Okay, I see.
So these are Diana's love interests from season 1 through season 5. And of course, one of them is no longer with us. He perished. No, I mean on the show. We don't know what happened to the others. We don't know what happened to the others on the show. Who would Diana have been?
Diana, I think. Listen, looking at this, Kevin got short shrift. That guy was really cute in real life. I will say that.
Behind the kiss makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's.
Oh, you like the kiss makeup? All right.
Well, look at Diana Nordsey. She winds up going to New York.
We were trying to envision what would Diana have looked like had she joined Xeris. Had Sid not had that
if you had got in
and you had joined Xeris, you'd be in that makeup.
It would have been so great. Well, I mean, Bobby was really nice. I will say that, though. Do you want to hear a funny story?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
About this episode?
Sure.
Okay, so you might notice when you watch this episode that there's a scene where Bobby's hair doesn't match.
Okay.
Did you notice that? The scene on the beach.
Yes, I was going to say, if there is a scene, it's the beach.
When he's like going, what were you talking to your friends about? Was it because they didn't fuck you? Which was my interpretation. He's had a haircut. And that's because we shot the first 3 days. And then there was a very long actor strike.
Oh my gosh.
Then we came back. And Diana's, I mean, not to be mean to myself, and I'm so sorry if this is triggering for anyone, but Diana's a little heavier. And my weight mishigas on the show was really a big problem for me. Hashtag not that funny. Well, you saw me do stand-up, so I think it's funny, but a lot of people don't. But we're like in the middle of shooting this episode where Diana is going to lose her virginity, and they changed their minds, by the way, to make it not happen, which I was very disappointed. But in the middle of shooting that episode, Claudia Lonow lost her virginity. And the way I did it was, we were so bored, me and my friend used to go to Venice Beach.
It wasn't Helen Hunt, was it? Was it Helen Hunt?
No, I did hang out with Helen Hunt, but she was too not as fucked up as I was. So, I thought she was, she's really got her shit together. Me and my friend would go to Venice Beach with our guitar and sing for money for something. We were doing stand-up together. It was like crazy. This was all while the club was happening. Anyway, while we were there one day, there was a really cute guy with his guitar who was actually talented and looked a little bit like Roger Daltrey and was also from Canada and going back to Canada maybe the next day or the day after. I picked him up on the beach, and that's how I lost my virginity.
Wow. That's the ultimate universe of the other guy on the beach.
Exactly.
Who
Who was Michael Dukakis' stepson.
I
You
Right.
know
The
that?
guy with
yeah,
the
we
van.
looked that up. That was crazy. I guess he was in Jaws too.
Yeah, he was
Jaws
in
2,
Jaws.
2.
Jaws 2 too.
Jaws too. Yeah, no, him I kind of like friends with on Twitter for a while or Blue Sky. You know, not friends, but like joking.
Sure,
Joking.
sure.
He was funny. I think honestly, out of everybody,
He's the one. I got to add him to this
Yeah,
one.
you didn't
He's
put him
the
on the
one.
list. You
he's
should have
like
stuck him on the list.
literally the prototype of the guy I wound up sleeping with. I think there's a guy in Venice Beach just
You might
like
have to add
Diana.
that in.
We do the slide. I'm going to do the.
Yeah, put him in the slide. And you know who was a real doll, I will say, in real life was Michael Sabatino. I
Yeah.
mean, the thing about him was he was closer to my age. Like I used to hang out with Kim Langford because she was living with Warren Zevon, and I'd go over and hang out at Warren Zevon's house
Wow.
with Kim Langford. That was glamorous.
Yeah,
But
I can imagine.
but like the Kenny Ginger people and Lisa Hartman were at least like not 10 years older than me, but about that. So it was like, everybody else was, fucking
Do
40.
you still keep in contact with any of the other child actors, say Pat Peterson or Tanya Crow?
Well, I saw Tanya. I did my first autograph thing, and it was also Tanya's first autograph thing. And she at the Burbank thing.
Oh, the Burbank
And she
barrier.
was
Your
there.
experience?
Oh, how was my experience? I mean, it was really fun. It was fun. Jonathan does them a lot because Ferris Bueller is a big
Sure.
thing. I mean, it's a long day. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
And I'm not Christy McNichol, who was around the corner. Who was around the corner. I'm not, what am I doing? There was also like some weird long line for what is it? The Scarecrow and Mrs. King.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, people go there. It's like, wow, I can't believe like that's where people are going.
Well,
Right?
I mean, we've been there before. We went when the Knots ladies
Yes,
did
that would
their
have been
thing,
nice.
and they did like a Q&A at the end.
Yeah,
So
I did a Q&A. I
Yeah,
mean,
so
listen,
we-
it was
Cool.
yeah,
and
I
that
did
was
a-
awesome.
How was seeing Tanya? Was that
Great.
fun?
Tanya and I did not have a lot of scenes together, but we have seen each other in real life since then, and she's a delightful person. I mean,
She's a friend of our former acupuncturist.
Yeah, our former
Okay.
acupuncturist, I guess, was really into Kabbalah, and I think that she was involved
she
at the
was a
Kabbalah
yoga
Center.
she was a yoga instructor,
Yeah.
and she's a normal girl, like, who was extremely talented. But I mean, that was also a thing that made me feel different from her, from Pat and Steve, was that my parents were actors, so they were not normal people. They're funny and I think they're great, but I didn't have like a regular, even where you would go, well, isn't it weird that they were acting since they were children? Yeah, but their families were just regular people.
Right.
Right.
My parents are not fucking regular people.
Now, speaking of child actors, this is another question that we have for watching.
This is a
Knots Landing.
deep
This is
cut.
a deep cut. This is
Deep
deep
cut.
cut. Who is
Deep
this?
cut.
Who is this?
Do you know who this is?
Here you are in this scene with this young lass who we only see for a brief moment. You say, "Oh, hi, Jill." And then
Hi, Jill.
you zoom off with Terry
Wow.
in that really cool sweater, by the way.
Yeah, that
Sure,
great
and Jill
sweat.
looks like she's just wandered in from Little House on the
That's what we
Prairie.
said. We call her the Little House Ghost. Is what we call her. We're like, she just wandered in from the Little House set.
I mean, no, I don't
Okay.
remember that, nor do I remember that sweater, or I did not remember Terry. I will tell you until you showed me, though. I do now.
He's kind of like because we just watched those clips last night as well. He's kind
Yeah.
of like a poor man's John Ritter. Like he's got the same outfit
Okay,
that
yeah, I see.
Jack would
Wow, he
wear.
really does. He
Yeah.
is so John Ritter coded.
He's handsome.
I think
He's
that
handsome.
was probably just a little child actress, who they hired for the day or an extra. But listen, did I talk a lot with Jill? No.
Okay, so how about Steve Shaw? Any special memories of working with Steve? You have a great episode again. We mentioned, I think, was Man of the Hour in season 2. You guys have a really great scene together. I think the Diana character really does show her maturity growing in that throughout season 2, especially in that episode, in her reaction to what Eric is going through, and then in her address of the parents who are kind of like not
Square.
quite tough enough to deal with it.
Yeah.
At least it isn't.
Well, as I said, I auditioned for the show with Steve, and I thought he was really talented, at the time. And I think I remember one day we were, you know, when you sit on this, there's stairs, but there's nothing up there in the living room scene. And, you would kind of be up there, and then a red light goes off, and that's your cue. And in between, we're just like fucking hanging out, we're just sitting there waiting for the next take. And I was talking to him, and I was like, you're so talented. Do you want to be an actor when you grow up? And he was also like, did not love this. Let's just say that.
Okay.
And he said, no. Oh, what do you want to be? And he goes, I want to be an oceanographer.
Wow.
And the other thing that happened on my last day, which was not my best day, and that was pretty not great. That whole did not feel great. They had, you know what, there was a gift basket for me in my dressing room, and with a bottle of wine in it, which was weird because now I'm like going, was I even 21? I'm not sure. Steve and I got shit-faced. I mean, shit-faced during filming.
Oh no.
We were drunk. I was a teenager, and I had also just like moved here from New York. And, so it really was like being kicked out by your family. That's all, wasn't great. It's an unusual experience to play a part in this and be in this thing for over 5 years. I mean, I haven't been on a show that long since then. I mean, even shows I've worked on. So you get very close with people. You really do. And, I grew up on it. I mean,
Yeah.
I became an adult on the show. People, I lost my virginity on the show. So anyway, Steve was a great guy.
How was it then returning back to the show after that experience? Because you came back,
Oh,
I think,
yeah.
in
Oh,
the
yeah,
final
for
season for a bit,
Yes,
and then
back to the
did.
cul-de-sac.
Back to the cul-de-sac. Well, I did 3 episodes in the last season that were all shot in one day or 1 or 2 days. And yeah, I know. They were block shooting. And, what I heard from a lot of people was we went from 32 millimeter to 16 millimeter to save money. And people were like not feeling great about all of that stuff. But when I came back, I had a great time. That was fantastic. First of all, best hair. Never getting that hair back. And I was just a different person. And so I was just like sort of happy to be there. And there's the big scene where I'm like, you got to go home, Mom, to Mac, because that's why I'm there. As I wrote something and turned it in. I wasn't even a professional writer. I mean, the balls, you've been gone, Claudia. I don't know, 9 years. We never had you back, by the way, for Thanksgiving or anything. So you could keep your health insurance.
They could have thrown that in. They could have thrown that in.
Somebody health insurance could have been helped by that. And and I had contact with one of the producers. So, and I mean, I had Michelle was not happy I was gone either, I guess. Anyway, so that takes some balls.
Yeah. But awesome that you were able to contribute in that way.
And they used some of it. And the part that was important to me is like, if you're a fan of this show and you've been watching it the whole time, and this character is debating leaving her husband, and then she goes to talk to her daughter, her oldest daughter. I think the main thing you talk about is the dead father, and how sad it was when you lost that. So don't let that happen again. So I added that, and I thought people appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Again,
you need the full circle moment.
And that's
also what people like about a show like this.
Yes, especially something that's been on that long. It's like you said that you grew up, on it. Well, we also, well, you didn't watch it when it was, I did. I watched all the way
Yeah.
through as a kid. Like, I
Yeah.
watched even after my parents stopped watching it, I was still watching it. So that is what the audience wants to see, those connections and the consistency. And it would have been great to have Diana on the show several other times.
Yes, it would have been nice. Diana's coming into town. She's got
Now,
this
speaking
fashion
of,
show.
speaking of Diana's fashion show, that's a perfect segue to show you this, because I want to know if Miss Claudia Lonow still has this shirt that you are wearing, which just happens to be the logo font that we are using for our podcast.
But don't tell
I
anybody
know
we
what I
stole
know
it.
what picture. No, I don't. I know. That's such a
Oh.
great picture,
It
isn't
is
it?
great. I love that.
I
So that shirt
know.
is like, who has those shirts?
That is just so great. And you can see I did that Jennifer Beals flash dance neck
Cut
cut.
it out.
Yes,
Oh
yes.
yeah. I was really, really trying at this point. I don't know. I mean, the haircut was, why did I do that? I mean, why are you changing your hair every year? That's not a good idea. Nobody was in charge of that. I would just show up like, what do you think about this shit now?
Well, it's
Wow.
funny you say that because there's a big joke in Not Slanting Fans is that Donna Mills had her haircut in between season 5, or I don't know if it's 4 and 5 and 5 or 6, and she's been abducted into a limousine, and so she goes into the limousine with one hair length and she comes out with a completely different hair length. So
That
in
is
the midst of the
hilarious.
kidnapping, one of the assistants must be back
Right.
there going, yeah, this looks fabulous.
Well, that would be a really good service. You get like a haircut in the limo.
in the kidnapped. Yeah.
Kidnap,
That
whatever.
would be great. I mean,
Actually, that happened to Xiao in her cliffhanger when she was, I believe, abducted by some like fan or something. I can't remember.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then her hair was cut on camera. Do you remember that?
Oh
It was
my
after. I
God.
think it was after you had left, maybe. But
I must admit, you just heard me talk about how I got drunk. I did not watch the show after I left. Like, these people can all go drive into a river.
okay, so on that note, where do you think that Diana would be today?
Oh, wow. Love that question. I think that Diana's had a very successful fashion designer career. And if she's anything like me, she'd be on The Real Housewives of New York.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
She would have been
I love it.
on like a Carol Radziwill, who I've met, by the way. Are you Real Housewives people?
We've seen some episodes.
We've seen some.
Yes. Not maybe not as many as you.
No, I love that shit. It's like the modern day soap opera. It
Right.
really is. Yeah,
Right,
it,
right.
it is like that for me.
The reference to the soap opera, this is our next segue, okay? I'm now going to read to you a quote from one of your roles,
Okay.
and we're wondering, remember who this character is.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He's kind of cute. I think I'll have an affair with him. It's very chic to become involved with your butler nowadays. If you watch the soaps, you would know that.
Honey, I know because there's only one thing where that bizarre Fantasy Island
Yeah.
episode where Paul Williams is a famous rock star
Yeah.
and his fantasy is to be anonymous. So I guess Mr. Rourke, this was also a bizarre experience shooting that show.
Curious about
So
that.
So
crazy.
curious.
About that. I can't believe that
It was
stuff
just
shot.
like those things were really weird, those shows. So his fantasy is to be anonymous. So Mr. Rourke makes him a butler in a mansion, probably the set they had available. And all you see are two daughters, sisters, me and this girl, I can't remember, but she was a big actress too. And my character just keeps going, you look really familiar. So it's like, I'm like ruining his fantasy. Like, how much did he pay to be anonymous? And my character is just like, you're famous. Like, clearly, Mr. Rourke did not tell my character that the whole point is he doesn't want anybody
Well,
to know.
he's outrunning mobsters, actually.
Right. He was outrunning mobsters.
Oh, okay. So guess what? I forgot.
Yeah.
Now, here's the question that we had for you about this particular episode and how it's filmed, because did you know that you were in an episode with the actress who would, later be on Not Slanting, your
Yes, Michelle
stepfather's-
Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
Michelle
Michelle
Yes.
Phillips.
Michelle Phillips.
Phillips Pfeiffer. Yes, I vaguely remember that.
But you
Yes.
wouldn't have like interacted with them because that would have been a
No.
completely different
Different
shooting
day
Completely
of filming.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely different day of filming. I have a weird memory of seeing something to do with her in that situation, but it might have been I was watching the episode
Sure.
and
How
going,
about the
oh,
Love Boat?
Yeah, the Love Boat is one that we love.
ah, that was a good episode.
It was good. You again,
that-
And you were wearing the
you're
bunny,
scene
the
stealer
bunny
of the
costume.
episode.
Thank
It's a
you.
cat.
Yes,
It's a
I
Oh,
cat.
am.
cat. Sorry,
Cat.
singing cat.
Okay, so at that time, I was really doing drugs, which is why my weight was in check. And my drug money got stolen from my dressing room. That's what I
Oh my
remember.
God.
The Love Boat.
The other on the Love Boat. The
Oh,
other thing
I know who
was
took it. No. Yeah.
no. The other thing was that show was shot in 6 days, whereas Knots Landing was shot in 7. And the pace of shooting was insane. I mean, if anybody went, oh, these people are all on drugs, it's like the only way. If you stood in the right place and vaguely said the right thing, that's it.
We're
moving on.
We're moving
They
on.
didn't even check the gate. They just moved on.
And as I recall, I had a big problem with the fact that I'm not seeing the whipped cream or something come out of Donnie Most's whatever.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Right. And I believe that I said something about it to an executive producer. Like it didn't make any sense. Like, how am I just not seeing it? And I believe that guy was thinking to himself, who the fuck is this girl? And why the fuck? I mean, does she not know what's going on? Anyway, he said, you just have to do it. And I'm like, okay. Okay, it's hard to act though. I mean, I can see the whipped cream. People are gonna think I'm stupid.
Right.
It's like it's a joke, lady. Anyway,
Wild.
just
We always
a
love
joke.
how whenever they're filming these
Oh, yeah,
scenes that are against the water at night.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like you can see the film grain in the back, and then they're trying to
Yes.
blow the
They had
wind
to-
at you.
They reshot my title card because my earrings were insanely long, which I just brought with me, and they were like, "This is chick. What? That's insane." Like,
I have a-
get
I
some
have a-
smaller earrings on.
So when those roles kind of came up, I mean, is it something because wasn't not still on at that point? So like, was there any like tie-in with? Do
Oh
you
yeah,
remember how
yeah,
that
yeah. I mean,
operates?
uh, there was no tie-in because they're different networks,
Okay.
and this was just like a thing everybody did. It's like, who's on? We need a 20-year-old. Oh, what about this chick? And once I was on Fantasy Island, I guess I got on their radar. So,
Right, because they're both
like
Aaron
with
Spelling, right? So
yeah, Aaron Spelling was Love Boat, Fantasy Island, and Hotel. So, I mean, I got Hotel because Jeannie Francis was going to do it. And I mean, this is sad, but her father died. And so they were like, hey, you want to do Hotel? And at that time, I was like, I don't want to do anything. Yeah, I do. I was off the show, but I was also whatever, sober, and I was doing good, looked good. I looked good in that show. Those are crazy.
we have to see that
We
one.
haven't
We'll
seen
have
that. I've seen the photo.
Okay, we'll have to find it. Hopefully, we can find it on YouTube. You can't find everything.
Is so insane, that show. That episode is crazy. I play a girl at the hotel who has just woken up from a 10-year coma. And the piano player at the hotel is like, oh my God, I hit that girl with my car.
Well, of course.
And that's why she was in that coma.
Wait, was she staying at the hotel the whole time in the coma?
No. This is 10 years later. He's
10 years
like,
later,
it's
she's
like
back.
there's a big circular
I see.
flashback
Yeah.
scene.
Sure.
And he's the cute young guy that I'm flirting with, or he's flirting with me, and that's good. But then there's some old fucking guy who has an antique shop or something at the hotel, and he's also flirting with me, and I wind up with this old guy, and I'm talking like 50, but he's so nice to me after my memory comes back that oh, this guy hit me with his car or something. But he was driving the car. He was driving the car. So he was like my boyfriend in high school, and he's driving I could be totally wrong, by the way. All I know is coma,
Yeah.
blonde guy, might have been on Falcon's Crest or Dynasty or one of those, and me, an old guy, hotel, Connie
All right,
Selly.
we're going to check that one out. Definitely. That's on the queue. Coming up.
Camp as well.
Yeah.
Now,
and
after Knots Landing, obviously you had some feelings, right?
Yes.
And so how did then taking that experience with Knots, how did that inform your comedy? Obviously, it's informed it in a lot of the shows that you've created as well. We saw you at Ego Death earlier this year. It was fantastic. You did this whole montage of kind of Diana's best moments, and then you sang as part of the show Ego Death.
Yeah.
Sang Britney Spears, Lucky.
Yeah, Lucky. I thought
so
it's perfect.
Tell us more about that experience and
when I was doing stand-up, it's so funny. One of the things that's been so fun about doing it now, after a very long hiatus, my friends, was that I didn't have a sense of humor about the Knots Landing thing. You have to remember that I was doing stand-up in my stepfather's club where everybody knew me. So they knew me as somebody who had been on a television show, was on Johnny Carson, and was like a party girl on the welcoming committee of cute comics who just moved here from New York, and then was a waitress at the club. So, like a week went by, and like, what happened to this fucking girl? And so I was doing stand-up because I could.
Right.
Because I was okay at it. And my stepfather owns the club, and my mother was doing it. It was just like, well, okay, I guess I could do this. But I would say that the combination of, I don't know, everything, and being like, having your parents there just wasn't conducive to me really growing as a comic. Though I did TV as a comic, and I was a feature act. I had a half hour. I went to Minnesota.
That's a lot. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. And also at the time, there were other child actors who were doing stand-up and talking about their child acting experience, and I didn't think they were good.
Okay.
Comics.
We won't mention names.
They weren't as respected as I wanted to be. And so I thought maybe this was not good enough, not intelligent, not highbrow. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I was teaching myself how to write scripts, and my period of like what I would call like failure to figure, get back into act. I was trying. It's not like I don't want to do this. I didn't know how to do anything. Didn't go to college. So I was trying to learn how to write and blah, blah, blah. This period of failure went on for so long that it became funny to me. It was just like, oh my God, now I'm living with my parents. I'm in my 30s. I'm living with my parents. I married the opposite of the right person. I've got a baby. And through that experience, I started to work on my first TV, which turned out to be my first TV show. It's not like, that was my first writing job, which was Rude Awakening, which was about a former nighttime soap opera actress who had to get sober. And so by that time, it was funny. Like, feeling humiliated was funny to me. And so I was able to put that into that script. So it's like the stand-up was just sort of like, regular being single or boyfriend problems or political humor. Wasn't that great. It was good enough to, have 5 minutes on Evening at the Improv. If your stepfather, it's like, that helped, but it wasn't really good. And I found that writing scripts was a much better avenue for me to mine that humor. And then now it's easy to make fun of. People don't even know what I'm talking about, and they still think it's funny. But I'm so over it. I mean, one of the weirdest things about doing the autograph convention was I was offended. I didn't say this, that they didn't know the other things I had done. Like I was offended, and I want to go, I created 4 TV shows. It's a much bigger accomplishment than this Knots Landing shit.
Right.
That I looked into.
That you're a showrunner of 4 series that have several episodes that you are pretty much in charge of.
Yeah. I mean, that was the craziest thing that ever happened because it was just like pulling a rabbit out of a hat. I mean, I was living with my parents. I had a baby. My late ex-husband was an alcoholic. I declared bankruptcy. And then 3 months later, I'm running a television show. I mean, I didn't talk about not knowing what I was doing. I don't know. I was just lucky. I mean, I was lucky that Showtime wanted, I was cheap. It was cheap and the script was unusual. It was really risky,
Yeah. I gotta say,
Anyway.
I wasn't familiar with any of the shows that you had done, but kind of been able to see them.
Okay.
Part of the thing too was I was not in the US till like back in the US till 2002. I disappeared for a while, so I wouldn't have had access. So that's my caveat. But I found it really edgy humor, and I also thought it was very like now, and I just thought like you're telling me this is like 1998 or 2002.
It was ahead of its time.
Way ahead of its time. And I feel like
it was like Fleabag, but made for $10.
Completely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was really impressed. And I gotta say,
Thank you.
Found it really funny. All of the shows we watched, little bits and pieces.
To say that the energy levels that are in the Accidentally on Purpose and How to Live with Your Parents, it just pulls right in, and it's just it's something you want to follow and watch more of. I thought they were both.
I know How to Live with Your Parents was a real heartbreaker because we were doing pretty well, so I was like,
and what a great cast too. Wow.
It was great. It was whatever. But my joke at that time was, well, the good news is when we were not picked up, nothing will ever hurt this bad again. I think I will never feel this much, because I had worked on it for so long because I lived with parents for my daughter's entire life till she went to college. So I started pitching it when she was 5 and I sold it when she was 17. So it was like, you know what I'm saying? And I'd be like, I'm still there. They're still funny. So that's why my movie is so important to me, because I got my parents to play my parents. And it was sort of like always the dream growing up with them as struggling actors. You can only imagine how much I wanted people to see how great they are.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. You're all able to, again, in my mind, I just can't even imagine like working with my family that intimately and that intensely for us, to shoot a movie. It's a big undertaking. So very commendable that you were all able to pull through and complete it. I mean, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it.
Once you start, you can't stop.
Right.
It's like we put all this money in and we got these cameras and we had to shoot it in 15 days. And I know. So it was just like, we gotta, and my mom's 86, so you gotta.
It can't go 16 days. It can't go 17 days.
And it can't go like 4 years, 10 years. No.
No. Yeah. And she doesn't drink prop wine. I had the prop people going, your mother is she doesn't want the prop wine. She wants real wine. I said, we're not going to solve this problem.
Take us through what this kind of schedule is for the screenings and how it kind of will hopefully transfer to distribution. I don't know how that all works.
Well, it's not just like I've never done this before. Not many people have done this before. Okay. So we started out getting, the NoHo Lemley, and we got this location in Brooklyn, partly because Izzy's going to perform and they're big fans of hers. And then started posting about it online. And in our Kickstarter, we had said, hey, if you know anybody who knows a theater, help us out. And then once we started booking some theaters, then fans were like, oh, hey, I want it here. I want it here. And we're like, the bookings we have are coming because of fans. We're not doing, we don't know how to do this. People don't know what to do with this. This is not a normal thing. That's how it's happened.
That's great. That's
I
unbelievable.
know it's very, very DIY. And I mean, the good news is, in terms of our own money, it wasn't that. So, and I was just like going, I just want to make the money back. I just want to make
Sure.
my money back. That's
Sure.
not a lot. That's not that much. And it was like 6 members of our family contributing to the money. It's not like we're like when people go, oh, you're Nepo babies. It's like, it's more like the Marx Brothers. We're not off over here. I'm not, George Clooney. We're not in that category. We're journeyman people in show business. So it's very exciting. And it's really like, follow the Instagram account, or my daughter and the Instagram account. You can follow me too, but I'm not as good about posting it. But if you follow the movie account, it'll say where the film is. And also, if you go to deadthefilm.com, you can find the movie. And, I might be there. Because if you're a Knots Landing fan who somehow has any interest in seeing this and or me, it'll say on the website, hey, Claudia and Jonathan are going to be here because my daughter has a baby. I don't have a baby anymore. Might as well go. Are people going to pay attention to me? Sure.
Would they be doing any little Q&A thing too?
Yeah. Sometimes they're doing Q&As. Like when we're going to be in Santa Ana, there's 2 shows. There's a 7:30 and a 10:30, and in between there's going to be a Q&A.
And we can provide the link.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll
put it up
put
there
the link on.
as well. Right. And I think just super exciting. And we're super excited for your whole family. And I hope that it's also a fun experience too for you all in this next stage of the journey.
I'm very, very excited, and you guys are so funny, and thank you for being so supportive, and I can't wait to see you at the screening.
Yes.
Oh, we're like I said, we're super excited. Great. I'll be hobbling there, and
that's right.
I have a fractured foot, so I'll be hobbling with a boot.
Oh, but, okay.
Yeah,
you could buy that shirt. Buy the shirt in time, and then.
Oh yeah, I could get that done in a day, I think.
Yeah, I think you can. I don't think it's that hard to get that. Although it's probably different type of material because they don't make.
Yeah, it won't be.
It's that 50-50. Yeah,
it's not that real scutsy.
Scutsy. Yeah. That's the word.
Oh, we wanted to talk about the scutsy scorecard too.
That line inspired our tracking of who. Because you said in Land of the Free you wanted to play that scene real scutsy. and then Michelle Lee Karen says, that's not what it says. That's not what it says. And it's anyway, that inspired our tracking of who is sleeping with who kind of in Knots Landing. So we're just in season 2 we got
You're in season 2.
We got to add some more.
Yeah, it gets better, I think.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Richard and Abby is just like not a pair.
Right
that you're like so excited about,
right.
But what Ted takes off his shirt, like,
hello.
We actually have another little thing that we keep talking called, it's the acronym for Take it off, Ted. So every time he takes his shirt off and he's wearing the little blue hot
we gotta track these things. We gotta track it. It's hard work, but we'll do it.
I have to say, I really always have liked Ted. He was really funny in real life. He was like one of my favorites, and Kevin Dobson. I mean, I liked everybody.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we can't wait to get to the Kevin Dobson scenes. Right. Diana gives Mac a hard time for a while.
Yes,
I know. Okay.
Well, she's recovering. Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Can people give Diana some space here?
Yes, please. Like,
grieve?
Give Diana a break.
Absolutely.
And I want to just remind everybody too, that whole thing when we always talk about this, where people sometimes they get pissed off with the characters. Yes. You just sit here and go like, okay, remember,
hello, this is a a drama.
It's
This is a nighttime serial.
Right.
There's supposed to be conflict. If there's no conflict, you're not going to be watching because you're going to be bored.
I know.
So if you have some goody on one side, you have to have someone who's stirring up the pot over here. That's how it works. And this person, this actor is just as talented as this one over here. So
yeah, no, I know.
Anyway,
I know people take it personally.
I know.
Okay, are we done?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Claudia. We really appreciate you taking this time. I know we went over quite a bit there on our timing, and we look forward to seeing you this coming week. And congratulations to you and your family for the movie, and we will see you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
All right. Take care. Join us in our next episode for a deep dive on all things Richard and Laura in season 2 of Knots Landing. We will see you then, back on the sack.